Hey guys, PepperAmmy here. This week we are making mac and cheese with a couple of twists. Now first of all, the pasta. I'm not a massive fan of normal elbow macaroni pasta. I personally find that it gets too mushy, especially when you cook it for a little bit longer than desired. And it has no bite, so I'm going to be using a thicker, larger pasta that holds up much better and that has a much more enjoyable bite to it. And also, you may like to put breadcrumbs on the top of your mac and cheese to get nice and crispy. I used to as well, but I'm a changed man now. You want to start by halving and then chopping a 50 to 100 gram baguette into chunks. Now personally, I'm using a part cooked one. This is totally fine, you can use a fully cooked one if you wish. And then place in the pan, preferably the one that you're going to be using later for the mac and cheese. Drizzle over some melted butter, throw in a couple of herbs and spices of your choice, and bake for 5 to 10 minutes until crisp but not coloured too much. Now whilst your bread is toasting in the oven, you want to start by cooking your pasta. Just throw that into some salted water, and whilst they are both cooking you can prepare your sauce. You want to have 500 ml of milk, 3 tablespoons of flour, and 3 tablespoons of butter. Now as well, here you can add some extra flavours to the milk. This just makes it a lot easier to bring the sauce back together. You normally use a bit of mustard for a nice kick and a bit of colour, but I was asked this time to leave it out by Charlotte, which I have to do. So I replaced that with some paprika, a pinch of chilli just for that kick again, and a little dash of salt. Now this did make a weird red milkshake. And yeah, it didn't taste too bad in all honesty, which is really good because this is going to be the base of your sauce. So it wouldn't be a go-to milkshake for me, but for a sauce base, this is actually pretty nice. Now once your bread is toasted, you want to remove that from the oven and place it on some paper towels, and then place the pan back in the oven to keep it warm. Then once your pasta is cooked, drain and set to one side. Now you want to start on the sauce. Now for this, you need to make a base, which is also known as a roux, which is a very simple and fairly hard to mess up thing to do. Now you want to start your roux by melting your butter in the same pan you cooked your pasta. Once melted, add in 3 tablespoons of flour and whisk until it comes together to form a sort of kind of very buttery dough. Now you may need a bit more butter depending on your flour, and then you want to cook this for around 1 minute. And then slowly pour in your milk whilst whisking. And the reason why you want to keep this whisking is to make sure it stays lump free. And then you want to simmer this for 5 minutes whilst heating through and whisking all the way through until thick. You really want to avoid lumps in this, and it will suddenly turn. Trust me on this. Once your milk is heated through, you can add in your cheese. Now I went for a simple 300 grams of cheddar, but you can play around with what cheese you prefer. In the past I've used Edam and Red Leicester. They worked out great and give different colour variants, but as we are using paprika, it's going to have a slightly red tinge to this anyway. Next, stir in your cooked pasta. I threw in some ham as well, just to add a little bit of extra flavouring to this. And then give it a good mix, breaking up any pasta that is stuck together and giving it a nice even coat. And then you want to tip that back into the oven dish that you toasted your bread in. Now the best part of keeping the pan warm and using the same pan is it's going to give a nice crispy out layer on the bottom and the sides. And the herby butter that's left in the bottom of the pan is going to give a nice flavour to it too. Then simply scatter over your toasted bready chunks, sprinkle with a little bit of extra cheese if you do so wish, and bake for 20 minutes until crisp and gold on top. Now the absolute bonus of having chunks of bread on top is like having a garlic bread with your mac and cheese without having to make the garlic bread separately. And as a bonus, you don't get any of that ultra dry sandy breadcrumb in those little corners where you just added a couple too many breadcrumbs and it's just not absorbed any moisture. Now this is honestly a real game changer for me. And this is going to be how I top my mac and cheese from now on. And there you have it, a nice simple upgraded mac and cheese that tastes great, is a nice change from the norm. But anyway, that does it for this week's video. If you like what you saw, let me know down below with a like and a comment. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe for free weekly cooking content, and I will see you all again next week. Thanks for watching.